I'm listening to my video that I made on the 27th of October, and it's the one titled Constructive Proof of the Homotopy Hypothesis. And I'm watching the AI generated transcript, and it's freaking me out. The kind of mistakes that it makes just seem so weird. Like bijection. I mean, the speech recognition, the word bijection has variously been translated as BJE or BS in the plural. I mean, what is this thing? And I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, like, what am I doing? I'm uploading all these videos talking. I mean, 16 people have watched it. 2 or 3 of those views are me. So there's like 13 people have looked at this video at some point, but I don't know how much they saw of it. But look at what the AI thinks of the transcript. But when I got to Bolivia and had some time to think about it and thought about how it all starts and how much simpler things can be when you prove theorems in the right order. And the category theorists know this because they do very, very short proofs of things which, in the classical literature and the historic development of math, some of these things took ages to prove, and reams of pieces of paper. But category theory seems to give people a way of organizing these things so that they can use properties of categories and make categories out of other categories. And then the proofs can be done of these quite difficult theorems can be done by short-circuiting an awful lot of stuff, which is really just to do with drilling down, unwinding definitions far enough until they're at a level where there are theorems about them, and you can actually move forward with your proof, and then you kind of wind the definitions up at the end. Oh, this bit. But what I did when I heard roughly speaking what category theory was about, I thought, oh, really what I want is a thing that builds up kind of minimalist examples of each category. Because it seemed to me that to prove something in category theory, you only need to prove it for the kind of simplest object for which it is true. And then it will also hold for all the other more complicated objects for which it is true. And so I came across this idea of taking the axiomatization, because category theory is not that much more abstract than abstract algebra. So there are these basic axioms, and if
there instead of there are.
And they apply to you can apply category theory to itself. The set of morphisms is a set, and the set of objects in a category is a set.
I think I'm talking about the category of small categories.
So it kind of lends itself to talking about itself. So that made me think that enumerating these objects, constructing them from their simplest parts, and then using those parts to build bigger parts, and putting those bigger parts into bigger parts, and so on and so forth, would kind of unravel a structure. I thought it did. I really thought it did. I have to stop. Around the 13th or 14th of February 2010, I very carefully constructed this kind of thing, which was like an inner model. It was a kind of generative structure for an inner model. Of whatever you could call, of any sort of thing you could call a category. And according to these basic axioms, which are
applause.
That it has a left and a right inverse.
Wait a minute, the music comes up in a second.
That it's associative and the composition. And
here comes the music at 11:32. Listen for it.
And the most amazing, I built this system on paper. I just went through 3 stages of interpretation and reinterpretation. And in some way, at each stage, I was able to rewrite the previous stage using the symbols of the new stage. So I had 3 different languages. I think the first was a language of just A and B. That was the only thing in the language. And from that I created some sort of unit type and a pair type, which you could think of as points and paths. And then the next stage was to create a kind of function type, which was capable of, really all it was a set of permutations.
And here at 12:45
because
comes the BS.
Any permutation can be made of by composing together a series of swaps. So all the functions in my system were
BS.
bijections. So then the next stage was to be able to do meaningful things with these functions, which are actually bijections. I can't. How on earth how is AI going to learn anything if this is what it hears? I mean, this student has gone mad. I feel like I'm teaching an insane AI something about itself. You're insane. That's what I'm teaching you. You're out of your fucking mind. Anyway, you can carry on watching that video, but don't pay too much attention to the transcript. And if you're searching for bijections, and it's not going to show up in the search results because it's translated them as BJE and BS. So this whole ecosystem that Google have built is on a flaky foundation. It's absolute crap. And you're just fucking with people's heads.